a disabled elderly lady, and she just needs a lot of help getting her lawn back into shape. Otherwise, they're gonna have to charge her like $250 to have somebody come out and cut it.
No one expected a lawn care channel to turn into one of the most talked about stories on the internet. But that's exactly what happened with SB Mowing. What started as simple before and after yard cleanup somehow spiraled into viral fame, massive donations, and a wave of online speculation that had people asking serious questions. Was it just wholesome content, or was there more going on behind the scenes? SB Mowing built its reputation on helping homeowners who couldn't afford lawn care. Yahalmaf on overgrown grass, abandoned properties, yards that looked completely lost. The transformations were satisfying, the reactions were emotional, and the audience couldn't get enough. Millions of views poured in, followers skyrocketed, everything seemed unstoppable. But then one particular story changed everything. A routine cleanup led to a fundraiser that exploded far beyond expectations. Donations surged into the hundreds of thousands. Supporters praised the generosity. Critics started raising eyebrows. Rumors spread fast. And suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about mowing lawns anymore. It was about transparency, money, and what really happens when viral fame collides with real lives. So what actually happened to SB Mowing? And how did a simple act of kindness turn into one of the internet's most debated stories? Let's break it down. At first, SB Mowing looked like just another lawn care business trying to grow online. But the man behind it, Spencer, had been building toward this moment for years. He didn't start with a camera crew or a viral strategy. He started as a kid pushing a mower around Wichita, Kansas, knocking on doors and trying to make a few extra dollars. What began as a simple hustle slowly turned into something much bigger. Not just a business, but a mission. As he got older, Spencer realized something most people overlooked. There were homeowners quietly struggling. Elderly residents, people with disabilities, families going through hard times. Their yards weren't messy because they didn't care. They were overwhelmed. And instead of judging them, Spencer offered to help, often completely free. That decision changed everything. When he began filming these transformations, viewers didn't just see tall grass getting cut. They saw dignity being restored. They saw someone stepping in, without being asked. And that authenticity hit differently. There was no flashy intro, no overproduced drama, just raw footage of overgrown lawns being brought back to life, paired with genuine reactions from homeowners who were sometimes on the verge of tears. The numbers started climbing fast. Millions of views, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, TikTok clips spreading like wildfire. Suddenly, SB Mowing wasn't just a local lawn service. It was one of the fastest growing outdoor service brands online. But rapid growth always brings pressure. With bigger audiences came bigger expectations. Every upload had to top the last. Every story had to hit harder. And while the mission stayed the same, helping people who couldn't help themselves, the spotlight was getting brighter. And that spotlight would soon focus on one story that changed everything. What really pushed SB Mowing into another league wasn't just the lawn transformations, it was the internet's growing obsession with watching the impossible become possible. Spencer had already built momentum, but once the algorithm caught hold of his videos, things escalated fast. One clip would hit a few million views, then the next would double it. Before long, his content wasn't just showing up on lawn care feeds, it was everywhere. People couldn't look away from the visual contrast. Yards that looked completely abandoned would, within minutes, transform into clean, sharp landscapes. But the real hook wasn't the grass, it was the story behind each property. Viewers found themselves emotionally invested before the mower even started. Some homeowners hadn't been outside in months, others were dealing with physical limitations. A few were facing warnings from their cities. Instead of shaming them, Spencer showed up quietly, got to work, and refused payment. That unexpected kindness became his signature, and audiences noticed something else that made the channel feel different. There was very little talking, no over-the-top reactions, no fake suspense, just the steady sound of equipment cutting through chaos. It created an oddly calming experience that people replayed again and again. Comments flooded in from viewers saying, the videos helped their anxiety, helped them focus, even helped them sleep. Soon, SB Mowing wasn't just viral, it was trusted. Brands started paying attention. Media outlets began mentioning the channel. Followers viewed Spencer less like a creator and more like a genuinely good guy doing the work others ignored. That kind of reputation is rare online, and it built a level of credibility most influencers never reach. But viral fame has a way of shifting the energy. When millions of people are watching your every move, even the smallest moment can explode into something far bigger than intended. And Spencer was about to upload a video that wouldn't just go viral, it would spark a reaction no one saw coming. Then came the story that didn't just go viral, it completely reshaped how people saw SB Mowing. It started with a property that looked almost beyond saving. The grass was towering, the driveway barely visible, and the yard had clearly been neglected for a long time. Most companies would have driven right past it, but Spencer didn't. When he approached the home, he learned the woman living there, Beth, was dealing with serious mobility challenges that made basic outdoor maintenance nearly impossible. On top of that, the situation had reportedly caught the attention of local authorities, putting her at risk of fines she simply couldn't handle. So he did what viewers had come to expect. He got to work. The cleanup itself was dramatic. Thick weeds disappeared, bushes were cut back, edges reappeared. Within hours, a property that once looked forgotten started to feel livable again. But this time, something felt different. The emotional weight of the story hit harder, and viewers could sense it immediately. Then Spencer made a decision that would ignite the internet. After hearing more about Beth's daily struggles, from navigating her home safely to dealing with accessibility barriers, he helped launch a fundraiser intended to improve her living conditions. The original goal seemed ambitious but reasonable, just enough to cover upgrades that could genuinely change her quality of life. What happened next caught everyone off guard. Donations started pouring in faster than anyone anticipated. Thousands of people, many of whom had never even heard of Beth days earlier, felt compelled to help. The total climbed, then kept climbing, and didn't slow down. Every refresh showed a bigger number. Comment sections filled with messages from viewers saying they were moved to tears, calling it proof that kindness on the internet still existed. But whenever large amounts of money enter a viral story, curiosity follows close behind. People began asking questions. How high would the donations go? Who was managing the funds? And what would all this support actually turn into? What started as a generous act was quickly becoming something much bigger, and the growing attention was about to bring an entirely new level of scrutiny. The donations didn't just reach the goal, they blew straight past it. What started as a fundraiser meant to cover accessibility upgrades suddenly turned into a tidal wave of support. The number climbed into the hundreds of thousands, then higher. Every time viewers refreshed the page, the total seemed to jump again. It was inspiring, but it was also unexpected. And whenever money moves that fast online, the tone of the conversation shifts. At first, the comment sections were filled with praise. People called it proof that kindness still wins. Others said they had never donated to anything before but felt compelled to help. The momentum felt unstoppable. But then came the questions. Some viewers started asking how the funds would be handled. Who was overseeing the money? Would all of it go directly toward Beth's needs? Was there a plan in place now that the total had far exceeded the original goal? These weren't necessarily accusations, but curiosity online spreads quickly, and curiosity can turn into speculation just as fast. On forums and social media threads, people debated everything. A few skeptics wondered if the viral nature of the campaign made it feel too big, too fast. Others defended Spencer fiercely, pointing out his track record of helping people for free long before any fundraiser existed. The internet split into two camps almost overnight, and this is where the pressure really intensified. When a creator builds a reputation around generosity and trust, expectations skyrocket. Transparency becomes critical. Every update matters. Every detail is analyzed. Spencer suddenly wasn't just mowing lawns anymore. He was navigating the complicated reality of managing viral goodwill under a microscope. Then came the clarifications. Updates explained that the funds were being structured carefully to ensure long-term support, including accessibility improvements and ongoing maintenance. The goal wasn't a quick fix, it was sustainable change. That reassurance calmed many concerns, but the moment marked a turning point. Because from that point on, SB Mowing wasn't just a feel-good channel. it had officially stepped into something much bigger, so where impact, money, and internet fame all collide. Just when the noise online started reaching its peak, Spencer did something that quietly shifted the narrative. He showed exactly what was happening behind the scenes. Instead of ignoring the speculation, updates began surfacing about how the donations were being organized and protected. The funds weren't simply handed over all at once. They were structured with long-term care in mind, designed to support Beth in ways that would last for years rather than disappear overnight. That single detail changed how many people viewed the situation, and once the improvements started, the impact became real. Plans moved forward to make the home safer and easier to navigate. Accessibility upgrades meant fewer daily obstacles. Entry points were adjusted so getting in and out wouldn't feel like a challenge anymore. Even the driveway, something most people never think twice about, and that became part of the transformation, aiming to remove risks and add stability. But what stood out most was the focus on independence. This wasn't about creating temporary comfort. It was about giving Beth the ability to live with more freedom and less stress. The kind of change that affects everyday life, not just for weeks, but potentially for decades. For many viewers, seeing those results answered the biggest question of all. Was the support actually making a difference? And as updates continued, the answer appeared clearer and clearer. Still, something had changed for SB Mowing. The channel that once thrived on simple, satisfying cleanups was now operating on a much larger emotional scale. Millions of people weren't just watching for transformations anymore. They were watching for accountability, follow-through, and proof that viral generosity could translate into real-world results. That kind of attention can reshape a creator overnight. Because once you demonstrate this level of impact, people begin to expect it every time. The stakes rise, the spotlight brightens. And going back to being just a lawn channel suddenly isn't possible. But the biggest surprise, Spencer didn't slow down. And what he chose to do next showed that this story was never about just 1 yard. Most people assume that after a moment this massive, Spencer might pull back. Viral attention can overwhelm even the most experienced creators, and carrying the weight of millions of eyes isn't easy. But instead of stepping away, SB Mowing seemed to lean into its mission harder than ever. The uploads didn't stop. New videos continued to appear, showing Spencer driving into neighborhoods searching for properties that had been forgotten. Yards swallowed by weeds, sidewalks disappearing under layers of growth, homes belonging to people who simply needed a break. If anything, the scale of the cleanup started getting bigger. But viewers noticed something else too. There was a quiet confidence in the way Spencer operated now. The Beth situation had proven that these videos could do more than entertain. They could mobilize huge numbers of people. That realization appeared to sharpen the purpose behind every project. This wasn't just content anymore. It was impact-driven storytelling. And the audience responded. Support remained strong, with loyal viewers praising the consistency. Many pointed out that despite the fame, the formula hadn't changed. Show up, work hard, expect nothing in return. In an online world often filled with staged reactions and manufactured drama, that kind of authenticity stood out even more. Still, growth always brings new challenges. As the channel expanded, so did the expectations. People began wondering how big SB Mowing could actually become. Would Spencer build a larger team? Turn this into a nationwide effort? Inspire others to copy the model in their own cities? The possibilities suddenly felt wide open. Yet through all the speculation, one thing stayed clear. The heart of the channel never shifted. At its core, it remained about restoring dignity to people who might otherwise be overlooked. And that's when it hit many viewers. SB Mowing was no longer just a YouTube channel. It had quietly evolved into a movement. But with that kind of influence comes an even bigger question. One that could define everything moving forward. How do you scale kindness without losing what made people trust you in the first place? So what really happened to SB Mowing? The answer is both simpler and far more powerful than most people expected. What began as one person mowing neglected lawns slowly transformed into something the internet rarely sees. A channel where viral attention actually translated into real-world change. The Beth story proved that a single video could rally strangers from across the globe to step in and help someone they had never met. It showed that generosity, when amplified by millions, can reshape a life almost overnight. But the bigger twist is this. SB Mowing never chased controversy, yet the spotlight found it anyway. With massive visibility came questions, scrutiny, and pressure. And instead of collapsing under that weight, the channel adapted. It became more transparent, more intentional, and more aware of the responsibility that comes with influence. Now, the mower isn't just cutting grass, it's cutting a path other creators are starting to notice. Because SB Mowing helped redefine what viral content can be. Not just satisfying visuals, but meaningful outcomes. Not just views, but impact. And maybe that's why people keep watching. The real story was never about what happened to SB Mowing. It's about what SB Mowing started. A ripple effect of kindness that continues to spread. The only question now is, how far can that ripple go?